everyone. Welcome to another episode of Dancer to Dancer. Today we are with Robert Pulido, and he is going to talk to us about a variety of topics, including his upcoming choreographic works for the company, as well as his history and a little bit about this isolation, because that's on everyone's mind. So let's check in with Robert. Hi, Robert.
Hey, Michael.
So let's dive right on in. You've been with the company for how long?
Currently fifth season, so this upcoming is going to be my sixth season.
Wonderful. And it's been such a joy to watch you grow through the years. You came in as like this spicy little baby child man, and we were all just like, oh my goodness, he got so much energy. And then it was just like, wow. Now
And then they said, here's Rainbow. Boom.
Oh, yes. The thing that has made many of a male dancer in the DCDC company grow up. It is a task and a half. But while we're mentioning it, like your last experience with it was when we went to New York again to do it?
Yep.
Yeah. And just talk about your experience from the initial time that you did it to then. Like,
So even the initial time being like the audition time, when they had me learn just a snippet of it, just getting introduced to that, I guess that visceral and very like, I don't know, sort of that like that energy, and sort of even like having to yell in front of like everyone at the audition, like that was sort of a okay, we're just gonna go for it then moment. But yeah, it was just that process of being introduced to just that like heaviness and groundedness was definitely a challenge, but a challenge and a good process to make me adapt and work on, I guess, my own inner self to be able to tell the story and show the story for the audience on my outer shell.
That's the thing about our company. I think it's very, very strong for us is that we do dive deep into the works, and you can either say I'm not going to do that work, and then we just are like, oh, or you take it upon yourself to go that far and to be that vulnerable, but also to try to experience something different. So that being said, as we are going into this new and upcoming season, you have grown from simply being a dancer to being also a choreographer. Like, my question to you is this an external push to be a choreographer, or did you always have that energy in you? And how, before you answer, how is choreographing on the company different than choreographing for, say, school pieces, like the places that you teach at, or solos, or those type of environments?
So first part of that question, I would say that the choreographing or being the choreographer was sort of pushed on me, because in all actuality and honesty, I just wanted to be the dancer as long as I could route. But then, like, even for example, in back in college, my pedagogy class, I was like very nervous and very fearful that I just had to teach one class, and like get the hands-on experience with even with my peers. But now that I have grown accustomed to teaching at studios, more so like hip hop, or more so like a blend of things that I know I'm comfortable with, like teaching and guiding other students with. I've sort of become less nervous with teachings. And then in terms of like choreography, sometimes I know when I'm working with you guys, I know I don't have to really break down the I guess the movement as much. Like there might be little intricacies here and there, but once everyone has it, it's not so much like it's very much the maturity and the already like personal like inner workings with you guys of like, oh, okay, like how can I do this, or like let me see the quality of this. It's that extra like thought process that you guys put forward um, that makes the difference in me choreographing or putting something on you guys.
Oh, that's good. That's wonderful to hear. I think that a lot of choreographers realize that upon working with companies, that the extra things that you kind of have to put on to students,
Yeah.
the artists do that work, and so I'm glad that that's showing up, and I'm glad that you're taking this push to be a choreographer and flying with it. Like the things that are coming out of your mind, including just teaching, are quite impeccable. Like it's really refreshing to see those things. So in starting your work for the company at the moment, and we've been talking to a couple other dancers, so we know it's about Marvin Gaye and his work. What
Mhm.
made your initial decision to choose the music that you did? I feel like your
Um,
music is a little bit different than everybody else's. It has a different feel and a different drive.
yeah, well, because I know um, Debbie didn't really give me the specifics, but she just said, "Okay, Robert, I feel for you an upbeat piece or an upbeat song with medium to big group." And so, like, just off of that, I was like, "Okay, upbeat." And I don't like personally know like off the top of my head like, oh, I know this song of Marvin Gaye, like that could work with. So I kept googling and YouTubing upbeat Marvin Gaye songs, and there was a few I was like, okay, like not not the, I guess, cup of tea or the cup of tempo that I would want to work with. And so then I figured, okay, well, there's other artists that deal with music and everything that will remix and play with the original soundtrack. So I figured, let me try to find a remix of something not too, I guess, not too hard, like, or like trap music genre, but more so just more of a funky like social dance that everyone could like just like bounce with it or like shrug their shoulder to. And so that's when I just came upon one little remix of "Got to Give It Up."
Ah, it's definitely a good choice. As soon as I heard it, I was like, this is Robert, heart and soul. This is gonna be fun. So obviously during this isolation period, you're being creative. You've been kind of forced to into not forced, given the opportunity. Let's clean up my vocabulary. Given the opportunity to choreograph, and it's inspired some new ideas from you, and you're doing a lot with spatial awareness. This is a double question. How are you figuring things out in your space um, in terms of choreographing? But also, how are you staving off um, being alone in a way, being isolated from the world? Not necessarily alone by yourself, but just being isolated from your normal routines during the day, like maybe going out to teach at various studios so you have it social interaction. How and seeing us in the studio, how are you keeping that type of stuff at bay while having to choreograph in your own space?
Yeah. So with the choreographing, I have. Let me just show a little snippet. I have sort of a runway to work with. So I guess in terms of traveling or like being able to go back and forth to places, it's fine. It's more so the side to side width that I have to deal with. But with that being said, what is it? In terms of this Marvin Gaye piece, since there's going to be two audiences, technically like in front and back of us,
Hmm.
with two side entrances, I'm trying to play with more with the sort of traveling forward and back, but also sort of like the symmetric symmetricity, symmetricality, Symmet-
Symmetry.
or that the regular
The symmetrical
symmetry of
aspect of
things.
it.
Yeah, um, of whether like if someone is going to go towards the audience on one side, I'm going to have to even it out and have someone go towards the other audience in the back, but then also try to play with around like mirroring effects, and then also trying to, I don't know, try to have sort of that, whoa, I forget the one choreographer, but he was well known for aerial footage or aerial shots in
Ah,
film, and
being
trying to
see it from
like
above. Yeah.
trying to create like a shape from the aerial point of view. So that's what's sort of helping me in terms of movement and choreography of like, okay, well, what shape can we be in here? What shape can we get into the next round? Even though people aren't going to see it from above, it sort of helps me keep track of like, oh, okay, we need to go here. This
Mm.
section is going to be this shape with this movement. So that's
Oh,
gonna
sounds great.
that's what's helping me with my brain. And then in terms of the non or the like working alone or not having the interaction, it's it kind of does affect me, it kind of doesn't, because I'm sort of like that, was it wall fly wall fly wallflower
Fly on the wall.
kind of, yeah. So I'm sort of that aspect where I will like kind of, I'll be in my own world until like I put myself out there. But I do miss like interactions of just everyone. But luckily, I have my lovely girlfriend Heather.
All right, right. There's someone else in your space, so that at least keeps away that. We were talking to Liz, and she had her puppy there, and so just having somebody else, or some living being in your space can definitely help keep it away. Well, Robert, we're running out a little bit of time, so we're going to check in with you again throughout the summer. And thank you so much for checking in with me.
It was great talking with you.
You too.